Well, I'll be here by Monday. I said it when you.
This is
Yeah, I said it when you meetings you had a couple weeks ago. I said. Yes. Rebecca's okay, sir? Rebecca? Are you ready?
Hey, Judy. Hey, how are you? Good. Is it your project?
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Malibu Planning Commission meeting for May 5th, 2025. This meeting is being held both in a hybrid format that allows members of the public to participate in person or remotely via Zoom. In-person participants, if you'd like to speak, please submit your requests to speak forms to the clerk before your item is called. Only in-person participants may donate or accept donations of time. Remote participants, if you'd like to speak, please join the Zoom meeting printed on the agenda and raise your hand in Zoom when your item you wish to comment on is called. Commissioners, when you have a comment, please raise your hand and I will call on you in turn so we can make sure our discussion is clear for the record and the public. May I have a roll call?
Commissioner Cannons?
Here.
Commissioner Mazza?
Here.
Commissioner Riddick?
Here.
Vice Chair Leonard?
Here.
And our Chair Peak is absent this evening. You have a quorum.
Okay. Norm, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Please rise, face your flag, and state your pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to recommend the agenda, make a motion to propose the agenda as staff recommends with item 5B continued to June 2nd, 2025.
Okay. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. May I ask roll call, please?
Commissioner Mazza?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddick?
Yes.
Commissioner Cannons?
Yes.
Vice Chair Leonard?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. All right. May I have a report on the posting of the agenda, please?
The agenda for this meeting was properly posted on April 24th, 2025.
Okay. When do you want me to do the announcement about the training meeting? Now? Okay. So on May 21st at 11 a.m., the city has scheduled a 1 to 2 hour training session, and it's strongly advised for all commissioners, but especially for new commissioners. In addition, the new city attorney training session and the Brown Act and the city clerk office may coordinate good governance presentation with JPIA. So if we could all make sure that we all attend that, I'll be there. All right. We have no ceremonies. Let's go ahead and move on to written and oral communication from the public. Do we have any cards? Nope. Okay. No online speakers?
There's one person on Zoom.
Okay. Who do we have?
Joe Drummond.
Okay. Hi, Joe. Are you there?
Yes, I just want to thank each of you individually, John, Drew, Skylar's not there, Elizabeth, and of course Marnie, for all your support and help in standing up for fire victims like myself in this last devastating fire, for coming to city council meetings and town halls and voicing your experience and encouragement for our homes to not only be rebuilt safely but efficiently and quickly. Our Malibu Rebuild Task Force that represents all Palisades fire-affected areas with 17 members are currently working with the ad hoc city council team to work on a new category separate from new construction for our rebuild, so we don't have to endure excessive studies, reports, et cetera, for our homes up to 10% max that have always just been there. Personally, we just submitted our plans last week and have already received pre-approval from GEO, pending many studies, and should be hearing from Planning and Environmental Health by the end of this week, but should hopefully be able to move to Building and Safety in a week or two. There are still many things to iron out, such as ADUs, fixture count, et cetera, for our communities. We are just glad that our plans are being accepted so far, so that's great news. I will be giving an update to you all and City Council on our progress every week so that you know how it's truly going. Again, I and we appreciate your support and hope you could be champions for our like-for-like rebuilds as well as Woolsey, Franklin, and Broad. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. So we have some good news tonight. We have a new interim assistant planning director. His name is Daniel Hortert. And would you like to give any comments tonight or introduction? Or
Sure. Daniel Hortert. I am a contract planner from Four Leaf Inc., who you're all probably familiar with. Josh has been here for a long time. I'm the director of planning for Four Leaf. I've been there about 6 years. I have been community development director in other places, Doña County, New Mexico, Chino Valley, Arizona. I've also worked in Imperial Beach recently and Hermosa Beach recently, and then several interim director positions throughout Marin County.
okay.
So that's
Are
pretty
you a
much in a nutshell.
contract planning
Yeah.
firm? That is, are you an employee of the city of Malibu's now?
No, I'm a contract planner from Four Leaf.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being
Sure.
here. All right. Consent calendar.
Excuse me, Drew.
Yeah.
Our Daniel Hortert also has a brief presentation to make on behalf of the planning department.
Sure. Okay. I'm sorry.
Again, Dan Hortert, interim assistant planning director. I'm going to give you a little rundown of the current Palisades and Woolsey fire summaries. So planning submittals with Palisades, we're up to 25. Last time reported 19, so 18 are pending, 7 are approved. Of those 25, 15 are like for like, 10 are like for like plus 10%. There is no building plan checks yet, no building plan approval, therefore no certificate of occupancies, but we hope to see those plan checks coming around soon. The average processing time for planning verifications for single-family residential units, the average time for corrections is 8. That's down 1 day from the previous. And then the average time for approval is 20 days. And here's kind of a big number change. Initial rebuild consultations, 206 properties, up from 193 previously, and that just a couple weeks ago. 85 follow-ups are up from 64. So we're really trying to move those along. Next slide. So again, the Malibu Rebuild Center across the way, open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Appointments are recommended. Walk-ins are okay. There's the website you can look at. If you have any questions, though, give us a call. Next slide. The Woolsey Fire Rebuild. So initially, there's 365 approved by planning. Of those 194, which are up 2 from last time, have obtained their certificates of occupancy. And there's 107 still under construction at various states. Next slide. So here's kind of a breakdown, percentage of the rebuild for Woolsey. 77 like-for-like rebuilds, that's about 21%. The majority, though, were like-for-like plus 10% at 54%, almost 55%. And then the major change to residences that weren't eligible for like-for-like or like-for-like 10%, there's 90, which is about 25%. So that's pretty considerable, and we expect a lot more. Next, oh, sorry. So here's the counter hours for the Woolsey Fire. We do have a kiosk upstairs that Akash mans, sits at 9 to 12, Tuesdays and Thursdays. But you can contact the center through the website or email to ashaw@malibucity.org. That's Akash. Next slide. Okay, so this is something that's kind of plaguing the city, and I'm sure a lot of other places right now, is there's a scam alert going on where people are saying planning.malibucity.org at usa.com, which is just a far-fetched email, are asking people to submit their permit fees through email. And they're using staff. They've obtained staff names, I'm sure off the website or something, to make it seem legit. And they're also using the Planning and Zoning Commission kind of as a catchphrase or something, but it's not legitimate, and we want everybody to know that. And if you do get this email or some request asking you to submit your permit fees via wire, contact Susan Duenas she's our public safety director here at the city. The law enforcement is looking into this and gathering information as we speak. So with that.
I have a question in regards to that. If you search on the sender's name, does Malibu have something that someone should look at? Like when I get emails I don't recognize, sometimes it will say it's from me, to myself, and I'll click on it and it'll be from some weird name from someone I don't know. Is there a proper search bar that comes from the city bar?
So that I do not know, but typically when I get spoof emails like this, personally, I click on the email, the one that sent it. You just click on it, it'll open up.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And you can totally tell it's a fraud. So, and if you have any questions, give us a call.
Yeah, that might be a good tell for people that do get these emails.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Yeah.
Our agenda no longer has commissioner comments at the beginning of the meeting, and it's my understanding that we were allowed 3 minutes.
Yes.
So why has it disappeared from the agenda? And I'd like to make a comment.
Do you guys want to do a quick straw vote that whether we want to do it right now?
Do we have a choice.
Do we have any more public comments? Are we all done?
Yeah, we're through public comments.
Okay, we do commissioner comments.
Okay, let's go into commissioner comments. Yeah.
It is on the current agenda under 2A, communications from the public concerning matters, and then it also notes brief communications from the commissioner.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So who would like to go first?
I want to, I don't have to go first.
Go ahead.
I just want to thank Joe for her comments. I want to say that I infrequently make comments about things that go before the city council as far as changing the policies of the city on applications, because they will come back to us and we shouldn't comment on them. So that's why you don't hear my name a lot in the news, commenting on these things on Facebook and things like that. It's not that I don't care. The other thing I want to emphasize is that our businesses are dying, and certain people in the city are trying to, in the community are trying to do things about it. For example, tonight the Olo has a Malibu Film Society dinner that helps Olo, and there's a group that's meeting at the nightclub across from the pier. I forgot its name.
Aviator.
Malibu Inn, Aviator Nation.
Yeah.
So with our highway being in trouble for probably 5 to 10 years, we really need to concentrate on using local restaurants and local stores, trying to keep them open. So I hope everybody does that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, John. And who would like to go next? Elizabeth?
So I just want to respond to Joe as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to say something. It's wonderful to hear, and I'm glad that you'll be here regularly to give us updates on how the rebuilds are going. And I just really hope that it stays positive and efficient. That's what I would really like to see. So I just want to thank staff, and thanks for the communication.
Arnie?
I'll thank Joe as well. But I also wanted to say that if anybody has problems with things that are coming up and they feel like they want to complain about it, feel free to email the Planning Commission. I'm sure you already know that, but it helps if you let us know what you're upset about so we can bring it to the table. Thanks.
So I think it was last Friday, I got a chance to tour the Rebuild Center and had conversations with quite a few of the people that were working there, and was really impressed about what they have set up there. I did make a couple suggestions in regards to maybe helping the city for properties that end up getting sold during either the course of construction or after permits have been received, to make sure the city does recoup those permit fees. And otherwise, the whole process seems to be really, really humming along. And there were members of the public there that were submitting their projects and asking questions. And it's a really great setup. And I'm really happy that they have that up and going. Go ahead, John.
Just one last comment. Saturday, I drove through Malibu Canyon, and I've lived here 54 years. I've never seen a bloom like is in Malibu Canyon this week. It's totally yellow all the way from the tunnel to the freeway. It's something you should see. It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the consent calendar.
I move approval of the consent calendar as given.
Okay. A second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. No continued public hearings. We're going to move on to the new public hearings. First up, 5A, we have a coastal development permit and a site plan review with minor modifications, an application to construct a new 1,464 square foot, two-story single-family residence with an attached 413 square foot garage and 1,016 square foot basement, on-site wastewater treatment system, landscaping, oak tree removal, and associated development. There's also a minor modification for a setback on the rear of the yard. And this is a site plan review for between 18 to 24 feet. And the address is for 31881 Sea Level Drive. Do we have a staff report on this?
I have a
Oh, do you want to do disclosures first?
Disclosure.
Okay, let's go ahead and do disclosures first. Go ahead, John.
I visited the property with Marnie, and I also sent 2 emails to Rick Caswell asking, one about we had a hearing for the MRCA HOA agreement where we had restricted the building on that street for widening it to 20 feet, and I had him check that was reversed by the Coastal Commission. And what else did I ask? That's basically it. So thank you for answering that question.
Anyone else? Okay.
My disclosure is just that I visited the site with Drew, and that's all I've got.
Okay. And
My disclosure, I visited also with John.
Okay. And I saw it today with Elizabeth, and kind of got a lay of the project. All right. Do we have Rick? Are you there?
I am. Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay. We can hear you fine. Go ahead.
Excellent. Well, good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for the introduction to the project here. I'll just let it sit on your screen there for a little bit.
Rick, can you talk a little louder, please?
Is that coming through?
Even louder.
Even louder.
Okay. Terrific. Hopefully it's not too loud and I'm not bellowing into your eardrums here.
Nope.
If I could have the next slide, please. So the subject property is located in the Broad Beach neighborhood. It's a couple of miles northwest of Point Dume and approximately just under a quarter mile north of Lechuza Beach. Next slide, please. Looking at the existing site conditions, so it's currently vacant, mostly flat lot, totaling fractionally under 5,000 square feet in area, with a gentle upward slope towards the rear of the property there. Property's small area is further limited by a 3-foot wide utility easement around the perimeter.
I'm so sorry, Rick. Could you bellow? Because I am really straining to hear you.
Rick, if you can move as close to your laptop as possible or your microphone setup.
Yeah, is that coming through a little louder?
Just like maybe yell at us.
Okay, is that better for you?
Almost good. Almost good.
That's almost good.
Let me just try and work on my settings here. Let me see if I can change something. Okay, so I put my microphone volume up as loud as possible.
That's much better.
Much better.
Thank you.
That's better? Okay, fantastic. Sorry about that. So as I was saying, the property is currently vacant. It's a mostly flat lot, totaling fractionally under 5,000 square feet in area, with a gentle upward slope towards the rear of the property. The property's small area is further limited by a 3-foot wide utility easement along the perimeter there, along with a protected western sycamore tree at the southwest corner, along with a centrally located protected coast live oak tree, and that's noted in the biological assessment and staff report. Next slide, please. Property is located outside of a 100-foot buffer from stream Esher. This is in the form of Encinal Canyon Creek there, just to the left of the screen. A fuel modification plan for fuel modification limited to within the property lines has been approved by the LA County Fire Department. Next slide, please. So the application, as noted before, is to demolish a small area there of impermeable concrete surface, as well as construct little under a 1,500 square foot, 2-story single-family residence with attached garage, 2-car garage that is, along with a little over 1,000 square foot basement. Perimeter fencing up to a 6-foot high retaining wall within the north side yard and rear yard there, along with just under 1,500 square feet of new impermeable surfaces throughout the property, as well as just under 500 square feet of new permeable surfaces, OWTS there, landscape improvements, and outdoor lighting. Next slide, please. So as noted in the project description, there is a site plan request for construction up to 24 feet in height to allow for approximately 1.5 in 12 pitch roof, up to 24 feet in height there. With typical steeper slope roofs, what's allowable is up to 28 feet here. This one would actually, although it's pitched, it would actually classify it as a flat roof. Also, as noted, the minor modification would be for a 20% reduction to the rear yard setback. So that's 3 feet, which takes it down from 15-foot setback at the rear there to 12 feet. Next slide, please. So just looking at the slope analysis, as noted, it's a predominantly flat lot with slopes up to 3-to-1 in steepness at the rear. And then next slide, please. So both the western sycamore tree, the southwest corner here, and the coast live oak in the center of the property, they're shown here relative to the proposed development. We can see the proposed development avoids the western sycamore there at the sort of, I guess, the southwest corner of the property, really the center of the screen here. But however, the applicant unfortunately is proposing to remove the centrally located oak tree there, which shows up within the building footprint. Unfortunately, it's very, very hard, almost impossible to build a residence here without, unfortunately, having to remove that protected oak tree. So other than the proposed minor modification and rear yard, for the rear yard setback and site plan review for height up to 24 feet, the project is fully compliant with the development standards of the single-family residential medium zoning district. If I could have the next slide, please. Thank you. So with regard to the oak tree on the property that's being proposed to be removed, so the ELB had 4 recommendations as noted here. So you can see those. I don't read those all off. What I've done here is I put little green thumbs up and red thumbs down. So the green thumbs up here notes the ones that have been fully met by the applicant. The reason for the red thumb down is that although the ELB recommended that in lieu fees for the tree removal be directed towards Xerces Society, unfortunately LIP section 5.5.2b does stipulate that those fees must be paid to the Native Tree Impact Mitigation Fund, which is administered by the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, which will be noted on the following slide. So you can just see there, so just taking a snippet there from the LIP section to confirm that requirement. And the applicant has since established those in lieu fees with the MMC staff for that mitigation of the oak tree removal. Next slide, please. Quick overview of the floor plans here with the TDSF. So the proposed TDSF does meet the maximum allowable TDSF of 1,885 square feet. Next slide, please. Just looking at the proposed TDSF, so what we have here is just a quick comparison of the surrounding average size of properties per the county assessor. So you can see that the proposed square footage does fall under that average size there for the surrounding properties, many of those located on Sea-Level Drive, with just a couple there on the street adjacent Seafield Drive as opposed to sea level. Next slide, please. This allows us to see the impermeable coverage here. So the project is proposing about just under 1,500 square feet of impermeable surfaces, where 2,213 square feet is allowable. Next slide. The 2/3 calculation here, again, just showing compliance with that. So the proposed project is proposing 974 square feet of area above 18 feet there in height, where 979 square feet is the maximum allowable. Next slide, please. Overview of the elevations. So we can see here that that tallest portion of the building there is at that maximum height of 24 feet above grade there. And then if we can have the next slide, please. That just shows us the side elevations of the proposed building. Next slide, please. The applicant is proposing 185 cubic yards of non-exempt grading, where 1,000 cubic yards is allowable, and 145 cubic yards of export, where 1,000 cubic yards is allowable. Next slide, please. With regard to public correspondence, at this stage, there has been no public correspondence received. As noted by Commissioner Maza, staff did receive some questions from him earlier, or I guess last week, which I believe were addressed. And then next slide, please. That concludes my presentation. The recommendation of staff is to adopt Planning Commission Resolution number 25-43, approving the project as conditioned. As always, I'll remain available for questions should you have any. Thank you very much.
I forgot I was chair. Okay, Charles, you want to come on up?
And Chair, if you could.
Okay, I'm going to
just
go ahead and open the public hearing.
Good evening, Chair Leonard and Commissioners. I'm Charles Santos, the applicant. I prepared a brief PowerPoint. So this is just a black and white rendering that shows the two-car garage at the front of the rendering. The two-story house is in the back. The owner is a native of Malibu. He grew up in Big Rock. Unfortunately, his parents' home, his childhood home, was destroyed by the Palisades fire. This home would be for him and his family. Mr. Caswell already went through the department approvals. We received all city department approvals, including LA County Fire and Fuel Modification Unit. And we also have HOA approval for the project. They recently reviewed the latest plans and approved those on March 23. This is an aerial of the neighborhood. This is the last lot on the east side of Sea Level Drive that's vacant. All the other lots have been developed. 8 out of the 9 lots have been developed. Our TDSF, as Rick mentioned, is 1885. Compared to the neighbors, it's lower than existing square footages. If you exclude the garage, actually, it'd be around 1,400. Normally, the assessor's office doesn't include garage, so we're well below the neighborhood average. This is my last slide. It's to illustrate the 2 protected trees, the oak trees up at the top. The orange illustrates the yard setbacks and shows you the building envelope and why we're having to remove this oak tree. There's very little room to design a house around that area. We are keeping the sycamore tree. And that concludes my presentation. I'm here with the architect if you have any questions.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. Wayne, did you want to make a comment?
No, I'm just available
Okay.
for questions.
Let's go ahead and close the hearing.
Excuse me, we
public
do have
comments?
a
Yeah,
raise.
online? Yeah, go ahead.
Joe Drummond.
All right, Joe, you there? Sorry about that.
Yes, I wanted to ask you guys to support this project, even though we're losing a Big Rock resident, we're gaining a family in Malibu. And I think it would be ridiculous to have their in lieu fees go to the organization that basically caused our fires, the MRCA, SMMC. If you could just waive those fees so that no one gets them, that would be the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. I don't think that's our discretion, though. All right, let's bring it up to the commissioners.
Question.
Go ahead, John.
First, by the way, Joe, they do not get the money. It goes to a fund that they direct that only goes to trees and things like that. I have a question to the Assistant City Attorney. I didn't disclose it. I forgot to ask. I asked Rick about the lack of discussing a trail on this property. And he said basically that it was not on our trails list. Our trails list is 23 years old. Now, this property is marked, it is a park trail to a park. The gate to the road says park entrance. We approved the homeowners agreement with the MRCA, and it went to Coastal Commission. They changed it, but it did not change the fact that there is a trail there. So granted that there's no reason that this should affect this property at all because the trail setback could not be accomplished and build a house. But I'm wondering why, if there's a basically state designated trail, city designated trail, that we would not be able to have that in our, considered in our staff review.
If Rick has anything to add, but I think it's because we go strictly by what's on the park lands map. And so even though it's outdated, that's the document that they use in their review. And so that's what was done in this case, and that's what's required.
Well, it's not the parks map, it's our map. And our map, obviously trails happen. So can you go 23 years and never put a trail on a map, even though there are trails?
I mean, I think these things should be updated. I don't know if that's, necessarily before us tonight on updating that, but I think, that's a good argument.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even understand what the process is to create a trail.
Well, just so you know, we had a trails committee. They went through 7 years of designating trails, and then it got canceled. Okay, the only other comment I want to make is that obviously, and the fire department has approved this. I have no objection to this project, but it's unfortunate that we have areas of the city which are canyons, which burn in fires, which will not be serviced by the fire department. The road in front of that house is 12 feet wide. So I think somebody should talk to the fire department about doing something about going to fires.
Yeah. I didn't really see it in the staff report, but I was under the impression on projects on sea level, they couldn't start until the road was widened, wasn't that?
No, that was reversed by the Coastal Commission.
Okay.
We passed that rule, and then they reversed it.
Okay. Anyone else? Go ahead, Elizabeth.
So anyway, I just want to say that I think it really is an incredibly thoughtful project, and it really is. So I want to say that. And with respect to neighborhoods and areas in Malibu, which there are many of, when it comes to fire safety, and this would be, something that I would just overall suggest, is that each neighborhood, like Sea Level Drive or Malibu West or Big Rock, that we really do have we support strong contingency fire plans that are exercised for these communities. But I think the project is nice and respectful.
Marnie?
Yeah, I had a couple questions. Is it at our discretion to talk about the trails and suggest that they make a trails committee, or?
That's the city council.
Okay, so just for the public to know, that's something you could bring to the city council. And then the other thing is with the MRCA money, I did see somewhere, I can't find it, that this is going to mitigate contribute to the butterfly habitat. So I don't know that it's going just to MRCA. It's going to, somewhere I read that it was going to growing the butterfly population.
Monarchs, yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like
that area
good
has a habitat down there, and I think that they're trying to keep it restored. Is that correct, John? Okay.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay.
well, just so perhaps you'll feel better about that, Joe.
Okay.
And then I think this also is a fantastic project. The story polls were up. Nobody had any problems with it. No one emailed. I make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Rebecca?
Commissioner Kamens?
Yes.
Commissioner Mazza?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddick?
Yes.
Vice Chair Leonard?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. All right, next we're gonna, you're out of here, John?
Oh, yeah, I am within 500 feet of this project, so I'm going to recuse myself.
Good night. That's a record, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
All right, wait a second. Okay, thank you. Can you please hand these back?
Chair,
Yeah.
because this has moved very briskly, if you give me just a moment, I'd like to contact our principal planner who's presenting the next item.
Okay. Should we take a 5-minute break? Oh,
No, because here she
Okay.
comes.
okay.
And Chair Leonard, you could go ahead and introduce.
Next up, we have a coastal development permit. It's for the construction of a new single-family residence, pool cabana, and on-site wastewater treatment system, landscaping, and associated development. It's for 6672 Zumeriz Drive. Hi, Renika, would you like to give us a staff report? Or should we do disclosures first? Okay.
No disclosures.
I drove by today and took a look at it and saw the story poles. I know that property is been for sale. Is it still for sale, Lester? Or okay, and that's about it.
I also drove by last week and just had some looks at it.
All right, Renika.
Thank you, and good evening, Vice Chair Leonard and members of the Planning Commission. This is an application number CDP number 23-051, located at 6672 Zumeriz Drive. Depicted here is a vicinity map. The project site is vacant, located within the RR1 zoning designation. The site is about a quarter of a mile southeast of the intersection of PCH and Zumeriz Drive and is located within the Point Dume neighborhood. The site is approximately an acre in size. And this is a closer up view of the parcel. It is an infill lot located on the east side of Zumeriz Drive and descends from the west to the east with grades steeper than 4:1. And on the western portion of the property are slopes flatter than 4:1, which is where the development is sited. As depicted on this graphic, there are mapped wetlands that are surrounding the property, but within the Point Dume neighborhood, the ESHA development standards are related to construction on slopes steeper than 4:1 and steeper. And depicted here is the color-coded slope analysis, again, showing the proposed development is solely sited on slopes that are less than 4:1. The project includes a little over 4,000 square foot, one-story single-family residence. And as a point of clarification, in the staff report, there was reference to a basement. That area is not a basement because the floor to ceiling height does not exceed 6 feet. So I've requalified that area to be a subfloor mechanical area, which is more an accurate depiction of what that area will be used for. Also included is a detached garage, a detached pool cabana, a swimming pool, spa, and associated equipment. There's some grading, landscaping and hardscape, retaining walls, and an on-site wastewater treatment system. Depicted here is a site plan showing the permanent structures. And depicted here are the project elevations. And after the report was published, staff became aware regarding two conditions, one of which was inadvertently omitted from the resolution, and that is related to the prohibition of the use of pesticides, rodenticides, et cetera. So staff has updated the draft resolution to include a new condition number 30, which is that prohibition. And then also staff became aware of a lot of construction that is currently happening on Zumeriz Drive. So staff proposes to add another condition. This would be a new condition number 45, which will include the requirement of a construction management plan to be submitted before before permits are issued for the project. To date, staff has received comments from a concerned neighbor. This neighbor lives immediately north of the project site, and their concern was related to the reduced setback for this project that is adjacent to his property. This image shows his property, which is located by the red dot. And his concern was that the neighbor immediately to the left, which is north, has a swimming pool and some other patio uses that are like right up to the property line. And then this project site, which is the vacant property on the right, includes a reduced setback. In my response to their concern was that there are a row of vegetation that would provide and maintain screening from his property. The project as proposed and conditioned is consistent with the development standards, so there really isn't much staff can do related to those concerns. Staff did also receive correspondence today, like about an hour or so before the meeting, from a member of the public. And in the written correspondence, I believe it was distributed to the Planning Commission. The correspondence was related to some suggested language regarding compliance with the dark sky ordinance. There was a suggestion that there be some specific language related to the amount of time the light should be extinguished, which is based on the code. And in my response to that, the project is required to comply with the dark sky ordinance and all of the nuances that are contained in the dark sky ordinance. The condition that was included in the resolution is a standard condition that we apply to all projects. But if the Planning Commission feels it's appropriate, I'd be happy to tweak that condition if you feel it's necessary. But the project would be required to comply with, I think it's a 10-minute limit that the exterior lighting needs to be extinguished, which should be, I think it's like a motion generated, motion censored lighting. And let's see, there was also a concern regarding speed bumps. The project is located on a public street, and that public street does have a series of speed bumps to regulate speed along Zumeriz Drive. I did do a quick measurement of where the nearest speed bumps are to this project site, and they're roughly about 250 feet north and south of the site. But there was some suggested language that we require some revised something rather, excuse my language, I just got this language here. It was a requirement to have the Public Works Department review the need to relocate speed bumps if they happen to be within 15 feet of the project site. The project was reviewed by the Public Works Department. There was no specific condition in the Public Works conceptual approval related to speed bumps or some type of reconfiguration of the speed bumps. So I'm not really sure if it's necessary, but if the Planning Commission chooses to do so, we'd be happy to add a condition that will have Public Works look at it and plan check. And that does conclude my presentation. In conclusion, staff does recommend adoption of Planning Commission Resolution 25-47, and I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, let's go ahead and call up Lester. Are there public comments? Well, you go first, and then they go first, and then you get rebuttal, Lester.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everybody. Renika, that was great courtroom drama, your entrance. Hadn't seen that before. Nice move. And Parker, are the slides ready? Yeah. So I wasn't really planning on having to talk, but I got this email 2 days ago from Renika from Mr. Pascucci, who's the neighbor to the north. And, he just sort of had some, slight concerns about it. And so I just wanted to address those. So let's see. Do I have a pointer here? Does this thing double as a pointer or not? Okay. Oh, there it is. So Mr. Pascucci and Mrs. Pascucci, I assume, are here, and then our lot is right there. When we do a sort of when I just sort of take a look at a very bland site plan of the adjacent properties, we've got the Pascucci's, we've got our project, we've got our neighbor down here, and then their neighbor is down here. So it's a pretty helter-skelter kind of layout. I do want to note that even if I have a front yard setback reduction, we're still further off the street than the Pascucci's. Here's a photo looking from the gully back up to the street, and I just kind of want to make sure that everybody understands that this is the green buffer between our lot and the Pascucci's. The trees are on their property. They control these, and so there's quite a visual buffer that exists, and I sort of took that into account designing the house. Except it's a 15-foot high house. Okay, so there's really it's quite innocuous, as you can see here. The story poles went up mid-December of last year. The posting affidavit went up 2 months prior to that. My name is on the card. You know, I'm easily accessed. So I didn't really hear about this until 2 days ago, and I would have been happy to have talked to anybody that had a problem with the project had they reached out at any point during the notification process. And that concludes my comments.
Okay. Thank you so much. You have 12 minutes and 23 seconds for rebuttal if there's
Thank you.
anything needed. So what do we have?
So one raised hand from Ryan.
Okay, Ryan, you there?
Yes, it's my comment about the speed humps was in general, and to be generic is really not applicable to this particular property, but I wanted that to be adopted somehow by the city. I missed the public comment section earlier for that. The second was that the city spent, a couple $100,000 on a preeminent dark skies consultant to prepare the city's standards for dark skies. And unfortunately, our municipal code kind of got screwy with the conditions, and one of which is this motion activated lighting requirement. You can clarify that as a condition for this property and all properties going forward, because the municipal code says they can be motion activated for a maximum of 10 minutes. Well, that's absurd, because you might be doing something that takes 20 minutes. The idea was that most motion sensitive products have a timeout after the cessation of motion, and that's what really was discussed in all the meetings and all the hearings. And so you can clarify that for this project and all of those going forward by simply adding it as a condition in the interim until we fix the municipal code with a language cleanup. The last is the mention of string lighting as condition 16. I don't know why string lights get so much attention, except you could substitute all lighting must be 3,000 Kelvin correlated color temperature. That needs to be in the language. As I said, architects know what that means, and that's for all lighting, which includes string lighting. So it would just be clear if it's up front and center on the conditions, so the property owners in the future will know what it is, and they won't have to refer to some municipal code from way back when. So thank you very much if you can make those adjustments.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, let's go ahead and, is that the only public comment?
That is the end of our public. I'm sorry, is another hand that come up?
A hand came up while Ryan was speaking, if you would like to hear from that speaker. Joe Drummond.
All right, go ahead, Joe.
Hi. Oh, I thought my hand was up the whole time. I just wanted to say, and I'm not talking as any member or board member of Malibu Township Council, but I do know that Lester is a respected and very sensitive architect to Malibu, and he is a longtime Malibu resident. So anyway, I just thought you should know that. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Joe. All right, let's bring it up to
And then Just to double check whether the applicant wished to provide any rebuttal.
Yeah, do you want to do a rebuttal to any of those comments?
question, Joe's comments. I'll let it go.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let's go ahead and bring it back up to the commission. Would someone like to go first?
I'll go. So I just want to ask actually of staff, I hear what Ryan is saying about the tweaking of the language within the dark sky ordinance, and I was just curious, I personally, and this is, for discussion, I don't think that we want to take a project that's before us and set an example with this, but I would like to know what the procedure would be if there needed to be an amendment or clarification with this ordinance that we spent so much time working on.
So it was my understanding from his comments was that the condition language should be expanded to include some details in the dark sky ordinance. I didn't gather that he was suggesting some changes to the ordinance, but rather there were more some specific language in the conditions of approval.
Okay, well, maybe I misunderstood. That's not what I heard. Maybe I'm incorrect. Is it okay to ask Ryan if I understood his request correctly? Rebecca?
You do also have correspondence, which I provided to you. It was submitted by Mr. Embry about 12 minutes before the start of the meeting, so you have a print copy today instead of an email copy. I believe he is asking for the language that was determined to be modified. The language that is currently used in our standard conditions was developed with the advice of the expert that the city hired and is based on the adopted zoning text amendment.
I have a question. In regards to, I'm not that up on the dark sky ordinance, but does all exterior lighting, even sconces that are decorative, do those require to be on timers also?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
That's why I was going to say that this might be a little bit overkill. A lot of this lighting does do decorative lighting, and I think that just the blanket language that this project and all projects must comply with our ordinance should suffice.
I have a question. Is there, if somehow it's problematic at some point, the lighting, is there a way to enforce this post-occupancy?
Yes, if they find 3 violations, they have to. The city can order them to take out all exterior lighting.
Yeah. So as I do understand, if they use too bright of light bulbs that are above 3,000 kelvins, that is the bar that's already set in the dark sky ordinance. And so there's a little bit of redundancy in what Ryan is saying. And as I said, so if you have super bright fluorescent lights outside, that is a violation, even if it's a compliant fixture. All right, would anyone want to make a motion on this one?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Marty. Yeah.
Maybe this hasn't come up yet, but there's a pool and a septic. In case there's like some sort of storm or something where there's no power and surrounding equipment is not working, is there something to make sure that the wastewater and the chlorinated water isn't going into the environmentally, biologically sensitive habitat close by? Is there mitigation efforts?
I can answer that. Very good. I was going to say, so the monitoring system of that, the system doesn't operate on electricity. It's basically the electricity is for monitoring if there happens to be an overflow to give notification to the city. It's not, the septic system, as I understand, it's not required to have power to operate.
But because it's so close to an ASBS, the biologically sensitive, is there something specific saying it's not going to go into that if there's an overflow of the pool or a big storm?
So I could answer that one too, but if you want to, okay. So right now they're just going through planning. Eventually they're going to go through building and safety. They're going to have a whole drainage plan that's going to be incorporated as part of the project.
Okay.
And all those aspects are going to be addressed. When you're building a swimming pool, there are special conditions in regards to that, how you could empty the pool and all those type of things. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
As I said, just one more time, the septic system does not require electricity to operate. It's just a monitoring system that if there is a failure, it notifies the city that there is a failure of the system. And it has nothing to do with the corresponding of a power outage. It could happen at any time. And this is going to be an advanced system anyway.
Well, but certain pools, don't they have certain drainage?
I don't know if
electricity where it kind of like infinity pools and certain pools have.
I don't think this might be.
Very straightforward pool. You know, the only thing about it, which most pools in Malibu, they're designed as retaining walls. Okay, so like if we lost all the water.
Do you want to come up to the top?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. It's a highly theoretical supposition you're making, right? That the pool's going to overflow, if I understand this correctly, and then it's going to go into the septic system, which is going to back up, and then it's going to put pool diluted effluent down the gully. Is that
Well, just thinking of all the possibilities of things that could happen.
I just don't see that. I just don't see that happening. Can you want to pull up
I can help you out with this.
Yeah.
Lester. Is there going to be a cover on this pool?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's going to be a dam vault for this pool.
Yeah.
Most dam vaults also have a drain in the dam vault, so the motor doesn't get wet. That drain
takes the overflow.
Takes
True.
the overflow of the pool. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay.
Vice Chair.
Thank you. All right.
I wanted to add a point of clarification. In the RR zone, all lighting has to be extinguished. Exterior lighting has to be extinguished after 11 o'clock unless it's ran by a motion sensor. So that's the sconces, all the lighting has to be off by 11.
Okay. Rebecca?
So just for clarification, we do have conditions of approval 63 through 67 related to the pool, the drainage of the pool, and it does require a drain and leak detection system capable of sensing a leak in the inner wall of a double-walled construction.
Is there a sub-drain requirement or a draft hydrant for this pool?
There's no draft hydrant.
Nope. Okay. No sub-drain?
There is a sub-drain.
Okay.
Hey, could I ask if you do direct questions to the
Okay.
applicant that he come to the microphone
Okay,
just
Lester,
for
can you
the
come- yeah, I'm so
record?
sorry.
No draft hydrant, sub-drain.
Okay.
Yes, there's a sub-drain, but there's no draft hydrant.
So let me explain how that works. A sub-drain, basically, there's a corrugated pipe underneath the pool that's in gravel, and it has a 90-degree out. If the pool happens to be leaking, you have a way of monitoring that there's a leak in the pool.
Okay.
It's a level of safety in regards to the pool construction. All right, thank you.
And then the speed bump issue that Ryan had brought up in asking that the applicant have to pay for it if it has to be moved, is that already mitigated?
That, he did clarify that comment. That was a general comment for the Public Works Department to consider, not applicable to this project.
Okay, that's good. I'm good.
You want to make a motion?
Sure. Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, Rebecca, roll call?
Commissioner Kamens?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddick?
Yes.
Vice Chair Leonard?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. I think that's it. Thank you all, and good night.